Imagine not being Leeds, not feeling this pain, not dancing through thunder, not walking through rain. Imagine not rising with fists in the air when the world turned its back and no one would care. We've lived in the ashes, we've drowned in defeat, but still we stand proud on our battered old feet. Imagine not loving with all that you are. Imagine not being Leeds.
We love you, Leeds, Leeds, Leeds.
We do love you, Leeds, and we love you, Mr. Longstaff. Brilliant news at Leeds tonight. Seems to happen that all these breaking news stories and all these articles that sort of come out with good news seem to be happening later on into the evening. We noticed it's the same with Goodmanson and the links with Stack last week as well, and Longstaff, to be fair, they came out, them two came out the same night, didn't they? Maybe an hour or so apart, very late in the day into the evening. So that's something that seems to be dropping quite a bit at the minute. Not much through the day, and then bang, go into the evening, and a couple of stories come out, and it just kicks off. And this tonight with Longstaff, I'm very, very happy that we're finally seen to moving forward after a bit of a stalled period where it's been a little bit drab. I did do a video yesterday or the day before where my expectations of the week, and it looks like we're heading for a clean sweep. So I said Dan James' contract has to be one of the deals that get done this week so it doesn't keep dragging on. Longest kept secret in football, really, definitely Leeds United, that it signed, he was staying for another period of time, which were 4 years, we found out. So that happened yesterday. Great news. I also said we need to bring in at least one player. Two obviously would be better, but we need to bring in a player this week to sort of stop this rule that's sort of setting in with fan base that we're getting left behind in window. And then tonight it breaks that we've agreed a deal in principle with Newcastle United for Sean Longstaff. The deal on personal terms was never an issue. That was always agreed prior to them rejecting the third bid, which was 10 million plus 2 in add-ons. They wanted more, closer to 15, and I think it looks like we've agreed to that with a 12-3 split, so 12 up front with 3 in add-ons, taking it to that 15 mark, which I think is about fair. Maybe we've got a little bit of a discount slightly there. Some would say 15 is too much, but with add-ons it pushing it to 15, and I'm sure there'll be achievable add-ons. Staying in Premier League, etc., and appearance fees and stuff, which I think he'll probably hit all them. But I think it's a really good deal for Leeds United. I don't think there's many people that disagree. You may not think he's a flashy player, he may not have been everyone's number one choice, but if we go bring in another, like an Anton Stack, which we are rumoured to be doing, maybe it won't be Stack, maybe it'll be somebody else, but we are heavily linked with 2 midfield signings. Whether that paves the way for Grueff to move on or stay, maybe we'll play with 3 in midfield and we need 5. So Grueff stays. We'll have to see, but I think Longstaff's a very, very experienced, decent player to add to the mix of what we've already got there. Will he play football? I would say yes. How and where, I'm not too sure. If he doesn't change formation, if it is just a 2 in there, I don't know where he fits them, but he won't be guaranteed game time, but the likelihood is he'll get more minutes at Leeds United than he will at Newcastle. A very big part player last season. I think he made 23 appearances, but accumulated only in and around 700-800 minutes. Because he's playing with, it's a different level at Newcastle now. Unfortunately, to admit as a Leeds fan, it's a different level. It's chalk and cheese where they are now to where we are currently. What I will say is he's seen the grow of Newcastle, and he's been part of it from being relegation fighters, staying up, consolidating and growing into being that Champions League outfit now, and a team that will want to win more trophies. So I think he's a great player for where we are as a club and where we want to be. We want to sort of emulate that, and I know Newcastle have done it. Got a lot of money, a lot of backing, but we've got a lot of money. We've got a lot of backing. Just got to trust that backing. I'll get it right. But for that progression of a club, we've seen Newcastle be a Championship club, not too long ago, and progress through those stages, and now that they are at the top end, and Longstaff to have been there seen it and wore the t-shirt. He's a great addition to us for me. He's not that. It's not that sort of box crashing goal scorer that you'd like to think he is. He's scored. I think his most prolific season at Newcastle a few years ago. I'm sure he got 6 or 7 goals, which was decent. Don't quote me on that, but he had one season in particular not too long ago where it was a really good season for him in G&A. So he has got it in the locker, but it's not something you see regular. But like I say, he is scrapping for minutes, and a lot of the minutes Longstaff gets at Newcastle, they're coming on with 20, 25 minutes to go to see out maybe a 1-0 win, to see out a 2-1 win. And his job isn't to go get another goal. It's to keep it, tight and tidy in there and just keep turning over the ball and progressing the ball up the field and sort of covering that back four, really, because he can do both sides of it. He's good defensively. He's physical. He's got an engine on him. He's physically strong. I think he's 6'2", 6'3". He's tall. He can get up and down. He is a box-to-box midfielder. Like I say, the only downside is he hasn't got the goals and assists you'd like from that position. But I think with more game time, starting more games, that could definitely happen at Leeds United. The fee, I'm happy with the fee, as I said earlier. I can't not see for life really how we can expect him to be a 10 or under £10 million player with the experience he's got for the age he is, the English tax and Premier League tax and all that. I understand you're paying more. The fact is, in his last 12 months of his contract, some people will say sort of goes against that, but I do think for in and around 15 million quid for that sort of player, it's probably as good as it gets. If you're wanting that Premier League experience for a club like us where we are currently. So I'm happy for the fans that we seem to have got a deal, which hopefully will kick on now and spiral into more deals. I'm happy for Longstaff because I like him. I like him as a player. I've always rated him at Newcastle, and he's one of those players, that underdog player at Newcastle. He is surrounded by talent and flair players, and he's a local lad at Newcastle. Big Newcastle fan. Him and his brother come through. His brother didn't quite make the cut, Matty Longstaff, and he left a while back. And Sean Longstaff had to battle with all these world-class players, and he's done well. I still get 20-odd appearances off a bench last season. When you're playing with Tonali and Gomez and, Joe Linton, fair play to him. He's a battler. He works hard, and I think he'll elevate our midfield. He will give, competition for places 100%. When you think of Ampadu and Tanaka, I honestly think they start, and I do think Longstaff's a starter. So this is why I keep leaning towards a free midfield. It's going to be interesting to see what Farke does. It's going to give him a bit of a headache, but what a good headache to have. You're going to be able to turn to that bench and see talent on the bench, possible Premier League experience if he's a bench player, or if he's not, and maybe have your captain on bench, maybe Gruev's there. Maybe this stack. It looks like to talk about stack. We are stacked in midfield if we bring stack in. Stacked. That's the heartbeat of the side, the engine of any side, and if you get that right, 9 times out of 10 you'll win the game if your midfield wins that battle. And I think we're definitely building a solid unit where in the Premier League last time you had sides just marauding through Leeds. The amount of times I go to a game and they just run through middle of us and we were just wide open. I know Bielsa played a factor in that, but even outside Bielsa, there were still gaping holes in that midfield. We brought in Tyler Adams, who for a season we thought it'd be that player who battled win ball back, and there were times where he were all right. He did well. He looked a good player, but injuries and stuff, we just haven't had anyone really since Phillips who sort of felt like he can sort of stand up to that Premier League quality. But yeah, it would be lovely to bring Stack in and you can move on from midfield then knowing that you've got that part of the pitch right, and then we can look elsewhere. I think the defence, the back four set now, the goalkeeper and cover at left back and full back are paramount. And that left wing spot, I'm not sweating on too much. I would like a player to come in there, but me on this channel, I'm a massive Ramazani fan, and I think he can fulfil that role 100%. And then you're looking at a 9 the night, yeah, possible 10, depending on what formation we play. But I don't think we're way off it now. I think with Longstaff coming in, that'll settle down the fan base. But I still do think, we talk about marquee signings, bringing in a couple of players for big money. What does that even mean? Big money, that doesn't define a player, the value of him. But what I'll say is it settles a fan base down. Does a big money signing? It does. No matter what, it settles a fan base down. Remember that first season in Championship, we signed Pitter as our sort of main player, 15 million quid from Swansea. Well, the best striker in the Championship. One of the best strikers in the Championship for the previous couple of years. Big goal scorer. Statement signing that, at that level, that were a statement signing. Whether you think it worked first year or not, it was a statement signing at the time. I feel like we need that now. Say, it would be nice to have a couple of players come in for big money, but we've seen it before, and it hasn't been right. They've got it wrong of previous ownership, so they need to obviously make sure they get them nailed on. We need to stay up. We need to sign players, and as a fan, at worst, we lose them to sides further up the table in X amount of years if we're not quite there, but we lose them for big profits on the margins that we bought them for. So, that's the sort of model Leeds can sell to a player that maybe you're getting from Europe who's coming over with a high ceiling with big talent. Look at Sunderland with Diarra and Siddiqui. They potentially can go again. If Sunderland don't kick on, but they look, out of place in the Sunderland side, say they can kick on there and move for more money than what Sunderland have bought them for. So maybe that's a model Leeds will look at. We've seen it with Rafinha. That is a pathway. Leeds United playing for Leeds United and doing well in Premier League will open doors if that's what you choose to do and if that's what Leeds model needs to be going forward. But ultimately, I'm just happy today that it looks like we've got Longstaff agreed. Stack hopefully comes next, or one other in that midfield, and then we start to look a little bit further forward. And hopefully that statement signing for me now would be Muniz from Fulham. Seems to have gone a little bit quiet, but I know Leeds are massively in for Muniz. I would say that's probably our number one target outside these midfields. And I'm just clutching at straws here, but that's the one I think the fans would love. I think that's the one the club would love. I think he would suit our system and our style of play. And I think if we sign Muniz, the backup we would have behind him would be pretty good. Depth for a side like Leeds United. Pitter was backup, Bamford if he's still here as backup, Metcha as backup. I think that'll free up Joseph to go as well. But I'm expecting a couple of outgoings as the week goes on as well, because we do need to clear his decks a little bit. But no matter what anybody thinks to Longstaff, we are getting a very capable player for this level, which is trying to stay up and consolidate, for the next few years. He's been there, he's done it, he's wore the t-shirt. And ultimately, you know what it is as well? Something as basic as this, he wants to be a Leeds player. And someone might say, bullshit, no one else is coming for him. We don't know that. There'll be other teams coming in for Longstaff, for in between 12 and 15 million quid. There would be other teams that take a punt on him. But we'll always look at, why is he only us in for him? We'll always look at negatives what we at times. Let's just be happy the fact that you've got a player there who wants to play for Leeds United. He wants to come and play for a top side, a massive club, and get minutes. And he'll work his ass off, because that's what Longstaff is. He's a workhorse. And no matter what we say, as Leeds United fans, we love a workhorse. We love someone who puts that shirt on and dies for a badge. And he'll do that. It'll be a massive transition for him, not playing for the club he loves and adores. But I think if you're going to play away from your hometown club, I think Leeds is a pretty special club to go play for, and you can easily fall in love. We've seen it, how many players out from Leeds, your Jermaine Beckfords, your Don Mateos, players who play for Leeds and they get bitten by that bug. And maybe Longstaff will be one of them, because he's a very honest player, very humble player. And yeah, I like everything I see about Longstaff. We do need a few more little sprinkles of stardust in various positions, but let's just back the 49ers. Let this now calm the fan base. James Deal, Longstaff coming in. Hopefully, kit comes out in the next couple of days for away fan, the away kit, and it's what we think it is, and that gets us a bit of joy. And then we play Scum on Saturday. Good performance there, batter Scum, and all of a sudden we're flying, aren't we? Friendly or not, we're flying, aren't we? So yeah, this one needed. Won't please everyone, but looks like we've got Sean Longstaff over the line. So that's my opinion on it. I've just finished a live with Wayne from Only Fools and SAFC. Our new weekly show, Tuesday at 9:30, every Tuesday on alternate channels, Bridging the Gap. A bit of a homage to Michael Bridges, who played for both sides. But yeah, every Tuesday at 9:30, so go check that out if you want a bit of content after this, or a bit of content tomorrow. Go watch our chat about Leeds and Sunderland. It's quite an interesting show, because there's been a lot of transfer battles currently. When the season kicks off and we've got games as well to speak about, it'll elevate the show a bit more than what it was. But we had 100 watching live tonight, 120 I think live watching last week on his channel. So two good shows. But yeah, I wanted to come on here and just have a chat just solely about Longstaff, because I'm really, really happy with it. But yeah, Content Creators Cup on Sunday. Cannot wait for that either. Get your tickets. I'll put the link in the description below. Take care, everyone. See you all soon.